Today, let's take a look at the latest release from Anbernic, the RG477V. This unit boasts a 4.7-inch 120Hz high refresh rate LTPS display with a resolution of 1280 by 960. It's driven by the Dimensity 8300 processor, offered in two configurations, 8 plus 128GB and 12 plus 256GB. Let's take a look at the selling price right here. As you can see, the front of this device is a single, uninterrupted piece of glass. This time around, the accessories package doesn't include the usual three-piece set that typically consists of a tempered glass screen protector and a screen cleaning wipe. Instead, it comes with a custom-fitted case, which holds the device perfectly snug and secure, fitting quite tightly. Let's take a clear look at its size. We have the 3.5-inch, the 4-inch, and the 4.7-inch models. For weight, the 3.5-inch comes in at 193 grams, the 4-inch at 217 grams, and this particular model, which includes a combined heat dissipation system, weighs 336 grams. Now let's examine its detailed appearance more closely. Starting with the D-pad, this D-pad has been altered and is quite different from the original. You see, the original D-pad had actual engravings on its surface. This time, however, it presents a completely flat surface. These are its return and home keys, which are clearly etched with their respective icons, a return symbol and a home symbol. The 3-star buttons are also different from the original. They're backlit underneath, and this lighting can also be turned off. In this pull-down menu here, let's take a closer look together. For the panel lights, we have the option to select manual mode. This means that with just a single press, the light will turn on. You should definitely be able to see it illuminate quite clearly when I press it, can't you? Of course, you also have the option to switch it off completely. In that case, pressing it will not illuminate the light. Even when they're turned off, you can still perfectly make out the letters underneath, so it really just comes down to your personal preference when selecting your desired brightness level, you know? Below, you will find two joysticks. These are Hall effect joysticks, which support a depressible, sunken design, allowing for a more ergonomic and responsive feel during gameplay. These joysticks are the exact same as the original ones, which were notably taller and offered a significantly wider range of motion, providing more expansive control. The lighting effect at the base of the joysticks can also be adjusted, and of course, you can turn the lights off completely. The button layout, as you can see, is set to the Nintendo standard. However, if you look at the top left corner, you'll find options to customize it. So, for those who prefer, you can easily switch to an Xbox controller button layout. Furthermore, the trigger types offer a choice between non-linear and linear options, providing flexibility. However, the trigger buttons on this device feature a micro-switch mechanism, which inherently results in a non-linear response. Regarding the button feel, these are all conductive rubber, and the A, B, X, Y buttons operate in the same way. The responsiveness is quite good. Let's take a look at the diagonal movements now. The function keys here are either membrane or micro switches. It's offered in two distinct color options, this retro color and then the black version where the entire body is black, creating a more seamless and integrated look when the screen is off. Given that it features a glass panel, it's noticeable that the chamfered edge still feels a bit rough or sharp when you touch it. This is quite a contrast, as earlier models like the 3XX and 35XX series had much more smoothly rounded edges, making them feel more comfortable in hand. On the left side, we have the secondary front-end call-out button. See, if you press it once, a long press will bring up the game's front end, and a short press will then exit it. Right here is its TF card slot, and it conveniently supports a maximum of 2 terabytes of memory expansion. Moving down, there are no other buttons or ports on this side. Looking at the top, you'll find the fan exhaust vent, the power indicator light, and a versatile Type-C port that not only supports video output, but also allows for charging at a maximum of 27 watts. Looking at the right side, you'll notice that the volume up and down buttons are located here. This is a change from earlier versions, where those controls were typically found on the left side of the device. This one is also located on the left side, and then you have the power on-off button, and absolutely no other ports or connectors are present at all. And now, let's examine the bottom section. Here you'll find dual speakers and a 3.5mm headphone jack. Let's check out the back. Here on the back, you'll find the air intake vent. It's a square shape, which makes this particular intake look quite distinct. The buttons aren't perfectly aligned, they're slightly raised. This design ensures they won't be pressed when the device is placed on a surface. And when you're using it, your fingers will naturally and comfortably rest on them, providing a much better tactile experience. The back features an anti-slip grille. Below that, you'll find the Anbernic logo and details about its battery, a 5,500 mAh capacity with a maximum charging speed of 27 watts. So, how would you rate its design out of 5? The RG477V, powered by Dimensity 8300, scored over 1.3 million points. Alright, let's begin by checking out the PC emulator, and first we'll dive into Little Nightmares. You can see the frame rate and temperature right here. Currently the temperature is 31 degrees Celsius and the frame rate is holding steady at around 30 frames per second. Let's try moving around a bit, maybe even jumping. And yes, it continues to fluctuate around that 30 frames per second mark. The performance is really quite stable, showing consistent results even under slight movement and action. It's maintaining its speed very well. Now let's go ahead and turn off the sound and then we can hear its fan noise. The ambient noise level hovers around 37 decibels, therefore let us proceed to activate the system without further ado. Now let's enable it. It will jump to around 47 or 48. Now let's take a look at the power consumption of the G7. Oh, by the way, I should really point out that my specific model is the 12GB RAM plus 256GB storage version. The 8 plus 128GB version would struggle with this PC emulator. The operating memory, also known as RAM, is unfortunately too limited, which significantly hinders its performance. Walking around is perfectly fine. The current performance indicates a stable 30 frames per second, which is quite decent for this kind of emulator. However, venturing outside the current area does introduce a noticeable degree of stuttering or lagging. Alright, the scene is significantly larger now, and because of that, the frame rate actually drops down to approximately 15 frames per second. When the scene gets a bit smaller and significantly less complex than before, the frame rate will then stabilize at around 25 frames per second. While the game is running, let's take another look at how hot it gets. The primary area of heat generation is concentrated on the screen, particularly its lower half, where the temperature hovers around 35 degrees Celsius. In contrast, the region where you hold the device, specifically the dual joystick area beneath, shows no significant heat, remaining comfortably in the low 20s degrees Celsius. Now let's take a look at the back. The heat generating area, this part right here, should be where the copper pipe is located. Given the fan's position, the air intake vent clearly maintains a very low temperature, hovering around 28 to 29 degrees Celsius. This specific area should correspond to the processor's location. When you hold it, the left side is 27 degrees. Below, the battery area's temperature is perfectly normal, exactly as one would anticipate and expect from a device like this. As you can plainly see, the device as a whole doesn't get very hot. Next up, we're going to try out the PS3 emulator. Let's just dive right into it and get started. We're now looking at the actual device operation. In the top right corner, you can see its temperature, and the CPU utilization is approximately 51%. It feels pretty smooth and responsive when I'm moving around, actually. Alright, let's open this up and step outside to explore the surroundings. We'll see what's out there. This is a first-person perspective. Ah, there's a bloodstain on the ground. It seems like something really bad went down here. I need to proceed with extreme caution. What on earth could have caused such a gruesome sight? Oh, the sheer audacity of it all. They've really got some nerve, don't they? I seriously need to find that key, and pronto. Overall, from what I've observed, it appears to be quite impressive so far. Alright, next up is the PS2, and our beloved God of War 2 is ready for action. Let's get to it. But before we dive into that, let's take a look at the relevant settings. The graphics settings are at 3x native resolution, and there's no downtalking on the system. Now let's switch over to a single player scenario and check out its performance. The vibration is a rotary motor. Even with special moves, it maintains a perfect frame rate. Next, let's take a look at Valkyrie Profile 2 and dive into its settings. We want to ensure everything is optimally configured. The graphics here are set to 4 times the native resolution, and there's absolutely no frequency reduction. We're going to dive right in and start playing immediately, so let's go. In the top right corner, you can clearly see that it's consistently maintaining a very stable 60 frames per second. Now let's move to our back cabin. Switching scenes in the back cabin doesn't cause any lag or stutter either. The display in the top right corner remains consistently white, indicating stable performance. If it were to turn red, that would signify an impending frame drop, but that's not happening here. Yeah, it's pretty steady. Next up, we have the WIIU emulator, and for that, we're diving straight into Ninja Gaiden 3, which is quite demanding. Let's start it right away. We're just going to plunge straight down. Alright, move. We need to head to where all the action is, to where most of the enemies are congregating. I'm pretty sure I can just slide right through them, you know, get right into the thick of the fight. Whoa, here comes a close-up shot. Alright, let's do this. I'm really ready for this. Come on. Yes, it's true. Dragons are incredibly comfortable to fight against, and now let's take a moment to look at some 3DS games that are notoriously difficult to emulate well. These titles often present unique challenges for emulators, making it quite a feat to get them running smoothly. Oh, that's really great. Wow, this is awesome. Even if it's not perfect, it's still pretty good. It's really smooth. Yeah, whoa, hey, I'm really getting into this game now. This is so exciting. It's so much fun to play. I can't believe how smooth it is. Right? Wow, let's head up there and check it out. I'm really excited to see what's up there. Whoa, oh my god, what the heck? Oh, what's happening here now? That's perfectly fine. No problems at all with that. And you can even adjust the screen layout exactly to your preference. This is using a default layout, and then let's examine the NPC emulator. This game is The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Let's take a look at its related settings. Alright, so we're at 6 times the resolution here, and I'm just going to move around a little bit to test this out. Well, would you just look at that? Incredible. Even at 6 times the resolution, we can see that it's actually pretty stable. And now for The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Let's take a comprehensive look at all the related settings. Since we're still at 6 times resolution, let's take it for a spin and see how it performs. Whoa, whoa, whoa! It's quite stable, consistently at 30 frames per second. Next, let's move on to the PMP emulator, showcasing God of War. We'll take a look at the relevant settings. Here we're running at 8x PMP, and you can observe the frame rate displayed in the top right corner. It's quite stable, consistently maintaining 60 frames per second. With these kinds of emulators, there isn't a significant demand for high skill. Now let's examine the accuracy of its shooting direction. You can also observe that the game features a visual overlay or mask. This display boasts a resolution of 1280 by 900, which means that numerous 4:3 ratio games can be effortlessly scaled up to higher multiples. This time, the shooting experience feels quite smooth and responsive. I'll go ahead and mute the sound now, so you can clearly hear and appreciate the tactile feedback of the buttons as I press them. Then let's take a look at the lower left corner. First, let's take a look at the bottom right, then the bottom left, the top right, and the top left corners. After that, we can crouch down and move around a bit to thoroughly check out its performance. The aiming doesn't have any input errors, and the feel is much better. Now for some fighting. Okay, let's really dive into the responsiveness and overall feel of fighting games on this setup. We want to see how precise the controls are and if the input lag is minimal enough for competitive play, ensuring a truly immersive and satisfying combat experience. We're done with emulators, so let's see how it performs running some native Android games. First, let's take a look at Red Dead Redemption 1. We'll start playing right away. We should really try to pick up the pace and run a little bit faster, don't you think? Following the NPC, let's take a moment to fully appreciate the breathtaking and expansive vistas of the untamed wilderness, truly soaking in the beauty of nature's untouched grandeur as we explore alongside them. The frame rate is exceptionally steady, consistently maintaining a smooth 60 frames per second throughout. It appears to be holding up remarkably well, a true testament to its stability. The scenery here is absolutely beautiful, truly breathtaking and magnificent. I'm really enjoying this incredible view. It's just stunning to behold. It has that beautiful sunset vibe, right? So let's now jump into some Genshin Impact and truly enjoy the experience. While we're here, let's take a look at the graphics settings. The graphics are currently set to ultra high quality, providing a truly immersive visual experience. Now all you have to do is simply select the gamepad for the controls. Once that's done, you're all set and ready to fully dive into the game and start playing immediately. This is looking quite impressive. The frame rate is remarkably steady and consistent, which is great to see. In cases where certain Android games do not support our controller's mapping function, we can simply configure it directly here within the settings. Over here we have the quiet mirroring function already available. There are also a few presets available here. For Genshin Impact, it's directly enabled. This quiet mirroring feature is already pre-mapped and ready to go for you. Let's start by streaming some PC games and put it through its paces to see how well it performs. I've configured it with a 120Hz refresh rate and a 1080p resolution, offering a smooth and detailed viewing experience. Let's also take a look at the average network latency and the average decoding time. We'll really examine those figures closely. The average network latency is around 5 to 6, and the decoding time is also around 5 to 6. So let's go ahead and crank the volume all the way to its maximum setting, and then we'll truly get to experience and assess its sound quality performance. The volume isn't super loud, and the sound quality is clean with no static noise, so it's pretty decent. Let's simulate how the screen light bleed would look at night. Since the screen is an OLED, you'll inevitably notice some light bleed around the edges. However, being an LTPS screen, there won't be any screen flicker whatsoever, ensuring a smoother and more comfortable visual experience for you. And so, to conclude, let's take it apart and see how well it performs internally. Once the screws are removed, you just slide it around and it opens right up. First, we'll take a look at the copper screw posts. You'll notice they're all securely in position. Next, let's examine its heat dissipation system. A single heat pipe, a powerful turbine fan, and a comprehensive vapor chamber, all designed to effectively distribute the heat from the memory and all other components. Here are its 4 sturdy shoulder button micro switches, a substantial 5500 mAh battery, and the 2 speakers are conveniently located at the bottom. So, what do you all think of the overall internal build quality and craftsmanship of this device? Alright, let's wrap this up. The RG477V is undeniably one of the most powerful devices in the current digital landscape. We've witnessed its capability to flawlessly emulate a selection of PC games, PS3 games, and even Vita games. It can easily handle these titles that typically demand higher performance specs. As for PS2 games, you can run them at higher resolutions. This screen has a resolution of 1280 by 900, so for retro games in 4x3, you can also run them at an upscaled resolution. The performance with Android games is also quite decent. Now let's talk about its drawbacks. Firstly, the vibrator is still just a regular vibration motor. It hasn't been upgraded to a linear vibration motor. Secondly, the screen's edge can feel a bit sharp and uncomfortable in the hand. The glass is quite thin, and the edges lack a smooth, rounded transition, making it somewhat jarring. It's not completely unrounded, but when you hold it, you can definitely dig into your palm, causing a slight discomfort, especially during prolonged use, which isn't ideal for a comfortable gaming experience. With enhanced performance and the capacity to run more games on a larger display, the inevitable consequence is a reduction in its portability. Lastly, there's Anbernic's real-time online translation. This feature is really useful. You should definitely try it if you get the chance. And that concludes our review for this episode. What are your thoughts on it? Please feel free to leave a comment below. If there's anything else you'd like to know or discuss, don't hesitate to share it in the comments section as well. Finally, wish you all a good day.